Hello everybody and welcome to lesson 4 of street dance styles. So we are going to start with this starter task. So I'd like you to pause the video now, 1 to 6, writing down the answers please. Okay, so going through the answers, let's first start with number 1, define timing. So we can define timing as the use of time or counts when matching movements to sound and or other dances. Really important skill that you will need to be able to define and also practically do to actually be in time yourself throughout this unit. Number 2, define coordination. The efficient combination of body parts, so being able to move 2 or more body parts at the same time to be coordinated. Number 3, define dynamics. Dynamics are the qualities of movements based upon variations in speed, strength and flow. And that leads us on nicely to number 4, is giving examples of 2 dynamics. So you could have had soft or strong, fast or quick, explosive, sustained, smooth, anything that describes how you're performing that movement. Number 5, 3 hip-hop grooves, so the ones with the funny names. So you might have had the WAP, the Robocop, Steve Martin, the Smurf, the Running Man, Biz Markie or the Bart Simpson. Name 3 different styles of street dance, so remembering that street dance is our big umbrella term and there are different styles underneath it. So you could have had crumping, breaking, locking, voguing, popping, house dance, b-boying or b-girling. And then our extra challenge is to create 1 sentence describing the development of house dance. So last lesson we found out a bit more about how house dance started and developed. So it's now your job to create a sentence that describes it. So just 1 sentence for you that sums it up. Okay, just having a look at our overview to understand where we've been and where we're going. So what we have previously learned, we've learnt about house dance history and we've learnt the key house dance movements. So today you are going to be choreographing your own house dance phrase. And what we'll be doing in the future is we'll be moving on to a new street dance style called locking. So, lesson 4 learning objectives. To have a clear understanding of the house dance steps, you want to practically be able to do all of the house dance steps. And you're also going to create and choreograph your own house dance solo. Our extra challenge could be to merge house dance with hip hop and add some of your own hip hop grooves. And our literacy focus is to use house dance terminology and dance vocabulary when choreographing. Okay, just reminding ourselves of some of the main facts of house dancing. So house dance is a social dance and street dance that is primarily danced to house music. It is often intrinsically linked to hip-hop culture and is very footwork heavy. This is a style that was born on and for the dance floor, so it is heavily rooted in the ability to freestyle. Freestyle meaning to improvise, to dance on the spot without planning. The style comprises of 3 elements. We have jacking, footwork and lofting. It originated from music played in clubs in Chicago and New York in the late 80s and the early 90s. The dance style is an amalgamation of steps influenced from other dance styles such as jazz, tap, salsa and hip hop. Okay, so can you remember any of the house dance steps? So what are they called? And I've just got up there our skills that we looked at last lesson. So have a think, can you remember how you define stamina and how you define rhythmic content? Okay, let's start with our house dance steps. So we have the toe bounce, the knee bounce, jumping, toe twist, heel twist, freeze, the knock, slide, snap kick and the reverse. Now you might want to go back to the video where the dancer performs all of these steps to remind yourself of what they look like. And you can do that by pausing the video and going to do that now. Okay, let's try and define stamina and rhythmic content. So remember we did these last lesson. So stamina is the ability to maintain physical and mental energy over periods of time. So can you dance for a long time with energy? Rhythmic content is repeated patterns of sounds or movements. So there's different rhythms in the music and the movements as well. Okay, we've done this skill before. We are now doing it again for another practice run. But of course the style of dance has changed. So before we had to describe a hip hop motif, and now we are going to describe a house dance motif using actions, space and dynamics. And this question is worth 3 marks. So let's go through this all together. Our actions, so the what of the movement, and I've put I performed a, oh that doesn't quite make sense, whoops. I meant to say I performed 4 slides travelling. I don't need the there, sorry about that. In terms of space, I perform these movements travelling on a straight pathway facing the diagonal. So I'm telling you very clearly that I'm on a straight pathway, but I'm going straight towards the diagonal. And onto my dynamics, we have I perform these slides with an explosive dynamic. So if we put those 3 sentences together, that is a short movement phrase that includes action, space and dynamic. So I would receive the 3 marks there. So now it's your turn. And remember that this is in the house dance style. So pause the video, write out the question and then write your answer, please. Okay, now it's time for your practical task. Today we're going to create your own house dance solo. Okay, so you might need some time to go back to the other video of the different house dance steps that the man performs for you. Or I would recommend going back to last lesson to Miss Pickwell's house dance phrase, just to give you some ideas of how to start maybe. Your main criteria is displayed here, so make sure you include at least 5 of our house dance steps that we've recognised. Make sure you change direction, really important that you don't just get stuck facing the front. Feel free to change different directions and make sure you use different rhythms, so using our skill for today, rhythmic content. Make sure you play with different timing, counts and rhythms. And your aim is to create 24 counts worth of dancing. And then make sure you rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. So please pause the video now and get creating. Come back onto the video once you have completed your solo. Okay, a quick plenary quiz to wrap up. So pause the video and write 1 to 6 down to answer these questions. Once you have answered these questions, you can also complete the extra challenge. So underneath your plenary, make sure you set yourself a target on how you could improve in your house dance phrase. And now you are going to go back onto your MS Teams lesson and your teacher will go through the answers to this plenary. Thank you very much everybody and well done.